I'm really pleased to introduce you to our first speaker of the day, Luke Cooper. Luke does have a day job, but today he is speaking to us on behalf of, Luke Cooper and the personal data wrangling challenge that he set himself. I was fortunate enough to hear Luke speak at one of the World Tour events that we had about 3 years ago, and he tells a cracking story. So I'd like to hand over to Luke to tell us a little about how he's recently deployed the ArcGIS Operations dashboard and FME Cloud. Thank you, Luke.
Right, so yeah, thanks a lot for all that, Dave. Basically I want to share with you today, my own personal thing of trying to understand what's going on with this crisis, and particularly with stuff going through COVID at a local level. Obviously, we hear stuff from a government perspective. And certainly earlier on, it was really difficult about understanding what was going on, what was the local picture. A bit about me. My name's Luke Cooper. I usually work for Arup. I'm currently furloughed. I'm looking after our daughter at the moment, because my partner is an ICU nurse, so she's really in the front of it. And I'm absolutely not a doctor. First of all, a big thanks to absolutely everyone. I talk about Public Health Wales here. They're doing a phenomenal job right now, as well as all the key workers across the globe. But what was my motivation about this? I mean, like I say, it was personal, and I wanted to understand, well, first of all, what was going on in my local community, but also, dare I say, like, what was my partner going to be experiencing? How could I kind of almost think about what she going to be seeing? I hear, like the first-hand accounts, but I did kind of want to almost get prepared myself for what might be coming for her. But it was also about knowing what we could do, and dare I say it, why not? We've got some FME stuff. Let's just see what we can do. Some high-level headlines. Devolution is a big part of all of this story, and as people are hearing very much recently, things for healthcare is a devolved thing, and you see that with different parts of the NHS in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Tests as well are political. It doesn't give a true picture, and also who is qualified for tests. But certainly from an early perspective, it was probably one of our only few things that we could have to understand what was going on. But you have to be really careful about what that interpretation is, particularly of population, demographics, or anything else that goes through that. Big shout out to all the more or less stuff. If you've never heard it on Radio 4, it's fantastic, which basically talks about that. Ask, well, what is this data actually saying? The first thing that I want to do was look for that data. I went over to the Gov UK website, and I thought, oh, this would be absolutely really interesting to see what's going on. And just like that, all my videos have now gone because. I'll just talk it through it. I went over onto gov.uk. The issue there with it is that it only reports all of this data for England. It just gives the high level headline for Wales, and likewise for all the other devolved. England, it does give you a full spreadsheet, and it gives you a live JSON feed, which is absolutely fantastic. But you didn't get that level of granularity at a local level. And in fact, you headed over to the Public Health Wales website, and this was particularly taken in March, early April, and all you got was basically a table which split it out by health boards of that day of new cases and cumulative cases. And it was really difficult to understand what was going on. Historical data, dare I say, you could only find from Twitter. You could only see, well, actually, what was it like, 4 or 5 days ago? You had to basically scroll through Twitter to understand what was going on, or the local press, which was getting it through this as well. So the first thing I did was I sucked FME to it, and I connected it to that table you saw on Public Health Wales' own site to start ripping that out and giving an archive and doing calculations and linking it. I was really grateful. I managed to get a free instance of FME Cloud with some credits on there, where I could just chuck this on, and do you know what? Then it just worked. So I then just slapped this into, in this case, an operations dashboard for ArcGIS Online. And yeah, there it is. There is a QR code and there's a bit.ly, and I'll put that in the chat later as well. And yeah, it just kind of worked, which is great. Then on April the 6th, Public Health Wales then released a Tableau only version of numbers. This was really good because it was like, yes, finally there is some, you know, analytics that you can see and visualizations. However, there was some stuff that just didn't have everything. And also, I'm a real data purist, so I wanted it all to be from a UK perspective so people could actually mine that themselves. Tableau, from really what I've seen that they've got, is really kind of locked down. It's been pretty hard to get data out of it. So yeah, as a result, the dashboard completely broke. So I had to look at other sources. The BBC News website is a good source for this. You can actually put in your postcode, you might have seen that, and you've got there's a JSON stream behind it, but it's not overly reliable. It doesn't always get updated, and you don't know when it does get updated. But it did more or less work, which is great, and it kind of looks like this from a screenshot from Postman. And like I say, didn't always work, and sometimes versions changed, and so it broke. There's another shout out to Tom White. So Tom White is he's trying to aggregate all the data from all the devolved nations, so that you can actually see what the historical data is for all the UK. I've been speaking to him, and he basically is the same opinion as me, that, you know, when this is all connected, that's kind of our goal, and that's kind of when we, you know, it's kind of a mission accomplished. Then back in mid-April, a data download button appeared, which is great because you finally got access to a spreadsheet. Not all the data that was on the Tableau dashboard is available to download and to interrogate, but it is a fantastic start for it. It's also worth mentioning that as this data started to evolve, the COVID symptom study also got approved from the NHS in Wales, and has actually been what Welsh Government is now promoting for people across Wales to use to track symptoms. It is very different to the one which I know is looking at being deployed in England. So yeah, and another great source. So you could start going, well, what's the symptom tracker looking like with actual NHS intakes? And again, because of FME been so quick to kind of change and swap and just try something and experiment and change things really quickly, I was able to evolve and quickly just pump into all of this. And I've actually got the actual workbench where we can actually go through the different sources, and yeah, it's got some quite neat stuff under the hood. If I just show you this over here, hopefully this looks. So yeah, so here are my previous sources from Public Health Wales, which just looks as a table. There's a JSON fragmenter and all that stuff to get the JSON stream. And then there's a CSV, which basically is directly from Tom's GitHub. And then this is coming from an Excel sheet. And all I'm doing is reading through it, doing some statistics, bringing in also things like population to understand population density and how many people are being affected relative. Archiving the data as well, so you can look that up, and then publishing that all together with some of the calculations done as well. And yeah, so that kind of all worked. However, what we did find is that this data download link to a spreadsheet is not static, and it can change, which again means it can break. There is a way that you can start looking at the JSON stream from Tableau directly, but my goodness me, it's harder than getting a pogo stick in Gallifrey to get that out of Tableau, particularly without the REST API being turned on. So yeah, at the moment where I'm a bit just updating it manually, or at least just pushing the FME thing just to change the source. So my wish list is ensuring a static link from Public Health Wales, ideally with a JSON stream and connected to all the UK data. There's also more data in their Tableau dashboard, which would be really good to see aggregated with all the UK data, including 111 calls. And also the COVID symptom study. I do really encourage absolutely everyone to do that in the UK. It's a really great thing, and you can start looking at some of the analysis from that as well. And yeah, I hope they strengthen their relationship in Wales and with the NHS there as well. So yeah, there are my slides. Thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, please do have a look. And yeah, it's just been a really good thing just to try out and see what we could do.
There's one here that asks about your dashboarding tool of choice. Was there a particular reason why you went down the route you did?
Yeah, so the actual visualization was something that really I wanted to do as quickly as possible, and I wanted to be mobile friendly. I did use ArcGIS Operations dashboard because it is really quick, and it's you can do, the only snag is that you have to do two. You have to do a mobile version, and then you have to have a desktop version. But I've got some HTML which makes it seamless, so it does look like a completely reactive app. And also I didn't want to spend overly a long time doing it. Power BI is all right, but it looks hideous on a mobile, if I'm being really honest. So yeah, that was my main thing.
Okay, and to get it to work on a mobile, is there any further development that you needed to have to do?
No, not really. I mean, the operations dashboard, I mean, I'm more than happy to share like how that thing looks in Esri. It is just, you just have to use one tile and just have a slide button between it. In fact, yeah, if you go to it, you can actually see what I would do just to make it force work, because Esri's, the operations dashboard is not overly great. If you just resize your window so it goes to a very narrow, you can see it just boots into the mobile version. But yeah, that's essentially all that I did. It wasn't overly complex really, and it did mean that it's not, this one's not done in D3 or hardcore code. So it did mean that as data changed, or as data changed, I was able to adapt it really quickly. I'm also was doing this while my daughter was napping most of the time, like she is at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, and lots of parents are saying, and long may those naps continue.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Superb. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank
Really,
you,
really
and
appreciate that.
thank you for I know I think I mentioned it to you guys, but also the FME have been really useful. Safe have been really helpful with trying to help me do this as well, and also for Public Health Wales, if they are listening, more than happy to share absolutely everything on this, as I've already mentioned to them directly. But I do understand it's taking them a bit of time going through messages because they're overly busy at the moment. I appreciate.
Okay, cool,
Cool.
cool. All
Thanks.
right, thanks, Luke. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.